So I stood up and it looked like there was a black figure standing in the reflection of the television behind me. I quickly looked at the television and I didn't see it. But just as quick as I looked, I saw the figure again out of the corner of my eyes at the doorway.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare.
All right, so here we are, baby. We are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. I am here today, like almost every episode at this point, with somebody I knew in high school. Ricky, what's happening, buddy?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Doing good. It's a nice Saturday.
It is. Thank God it's Saturday.
I was surprised, man. The first time I've been to this house, and this is the first time I met you, by the way. My boy Eric Messick, the dude who actually edits the show, he took me over here during a 4th of July, and we're like shooting like Roman candles. We're throwing fireworks at each other. That must have been like 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah, so we were extra dumb.
Weapon grade dumb back in the days. But yeah, man, we just always kind of know each other. And when I started the show, Eric was like, well, you got to talk to Ricky. He lives in a very haunted house. And here we are right in the heart of it. If you want, we could just get into it.
Okay, yeah. So this is the house I grew up in, and I have a ton of stories. Just some like background of the house, though. And these are just some stories that I've heard. I've never actually experienced them. My babysitter, when I was like 6 or 5 years old, told my brother that she would watch the previous owner's kids or take them over to her house because she was actually our next door neighbor. And she said that they would do seances, and that's why she would watch the kids or take the kids to a different location. Apparently, they used to do some really crazy shit in this house. I asked my mom before the show, and apparently the owners, the husband and the wife actually passed away from cancer in this house. I didn't know about that until recently.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. There's even some stuff that's gone on outside the house as well, like in the back of the woods.
In the woods, yeah. Because this is all like Civil War area, right?
I believe so. I remember back in high school, I would be looking at those history books, and I would come across old farm equipment, right? And I'd be like, that's my backyard. That's literally in the woods right now. The worst thing about it, too, was when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking about it. I'm sure something terrible happened there, and I'm over there just playing on the...
Yeah, sitting there with a stick, pretending it's a sword, just playing over top of a mass grave or something.
Yes. Honestly, the things that happened in this house was probably my fault just for going back there.
So that story with the previous owners of this house, and she might have just been messing with your older brother, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a house and it's haunted, you wonder. And if seances were done, and you're inviting spirits,
it opens a door, yeah.
Exactly. So some of the things that happened, I don't exactly remember. For instance, there was one time where when I was really young and I just moved into the house, my dad walked into my bedroom and he heard me talking to somebody. My dad asked, who are you talking to, Ricky? Well, I'm talking to this lady standing over here in the corner. I do not remember this at all. I do remember him asking me the morning after. That's when people started realizing that, oh shit, there's actually something going on. When my mom and my dad were sleeping, they said that they felt something climb into bed with them. My little brother Wyatt was, he was at that age where he could climb into bed between mom and dad and sleep between mom and dad, right? And they thought it was Wyatt. And they're feeling around for a while. They wake up, pull the blankets off, nothing's in the bed with them. They went in my little brother's room and he was sound asleep.
Did your parents just get into a natural cadence of like, wow, I guess there's something haunting the house?
Kinda. Eventually, you just get used to it. At the beginning, I was terrified. But as I got older and it started happening more and more and more, I was like, whatever. Like, a lot of people have a hard time handling horror movies like The Conjuring or The Nun or The Exorcist. But I enjoy it because of the house I grew up in. When I went and saw Paranormal Activity, it was like revolutionary because nobody ever did anything like that before. Yeah. And when I went and saw it, I was like, this is great. And everybody else is like freaking the fuck out.
In the movies like that, everything ramps up to where like the monster's trying to kill you at the end. But, a blanket being pulled off you at night, for most people, if that does happen to you, it's just something weird that happens. There's not an escalation to that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there has been a few things that I've seen in movies that have happened in this house before. For instance, me and my brother Josh, we were at the house. My dad was at work. My mom was home with us. And we heard this really, really loud bang. And me and Josh obviously were freaked the fuck out. I know my mom and dad asked neighbors around the house, like, hey, did you hear this bang last night? And they're like, oh, we didn't hear anything. So it seemed like it was just our house, but it was extremely loud. And I will never forget it because the whole house shook.
I wonder what that is, because like I've interviewed enough people where it's like there are common things that pop up in almost everybody's stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's got the, well, I saw shadows passing by the doorway, and like a loud bang is almost in every single story.
Yeah. Do you remember Oscar? We went to school with him. He would go to those LAN parties with us, actually.
Oscar's a good dude.
Yeah.
Shouts to Oscar.
We were sitting in my bedroom and I was playing on my computer, and my buddy Oscar, he was playing the Xbox, and the door was really janky. It's one of those doors you had to turn a knob, pick up the door, and then slide it open.
Yeah.
Well, one day I was sitting there playing my computer. My buddy Oscar was playing the Xbox behind me, and the door between both me and him popped open and opened up just a little bit. I quickly looked over and then, looked back at what I was doing. And I said, Wyatt, go back to bed. Probably played for like another 8 seconds. And I stopped and I looked at the door and I looked back at my buddy Oscar, and he was like, dude, that wasn't Wyatt. So I quickly opened the door and I went into Wyatt's room, and he was, again, sound asleep. So excited about the story, I went downstairs to tell my mom about it. And she was sitting on the floor. She had her hand on the lampshade. And I was like, Mom, what are you doing? And she said, this lampshade just started spinning.
Holy shit.
The same time I just experienced something upstairs, and then coming downstairs to see her sitting there holding a lampshade because it was just spinning around uncontrollably. It's crazy. So a lot of my friends would come over and be very skeptical. Like, no, there's no way your house is haunted. There's no such thing.
They hear the stories from other people or even you, and
yeah, they think I'm crazy.
Haunted, whatever.
But a lot of them would all of a sudden become believers after staying at this house for a period of time. One of my buddies, Taylor, he was sleeping upstairs in the guest bedroom. And he said he had a dream that he was standing over top of himself, sleeping in the guest bedroom.
Like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm standing in the room where I know I'm sleeping right now, watching myself sleep. So our dog came into the room and started licking his face or whatever, right? And it woke him up. He noticed that his phone was illuminated, sitting in the camera mode. And the picture that was on his phone was where he was standing while he was dreaming himself sleeping.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And to this day, he still has his picture. I remember I used to work in DC, right? And I would commute from here to DC. Shitty ass commute. But anyway, so after work one day, I came home, right? And I was exhausted. So I laid in bed and went to sleep. I woke up and I went into the bathroom, and I had a number written on my arm. It was like, take your finger and put it on like a piece of charcoal.
Yeah.
And then
ash, right?
Exactly. And then write on a piece of white paper.
So I don't know if you're a churchgoer, but do you remember on Ash Wednesday, they would do like the sign of the cross over your head? I guess not if you don't go to church.
No, I mean, I'm unfamiliar, but I never knew that. So it's kind of interesting to hear that maybe there's a connection. Now, I don't think it was Ash Wednesday, but I went into the bathroom, right? And I saw in the reflection of the mirror, a number written on my arm, but it looked like it was written in ash. And it was 386. I have this picture on my phone to this day. 386, I looked it up. There's a bunch of different meanings, but dealing with challenges and not holding on to the past. It relates to like money or financial problems. And during that time, of course, I mean, I was traveling so much to work. A lot of my paycheck was going straight to my gas tank. After I quit the company I worked with in DC and I started working at a similar company, but very much closer over in Manassas, my financial burden became a lot less. I'm doing much better now than I am back in the day. So
it sounds very supportive.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was the lady that I was talking to when I was little. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe she's got like a guardian angel thing kind of going on.
I mean, I don't know who she is, but thanks. Now, to get into some of the stuff that has actually happened outside of the house. Now, I was very little. I was probably 13, 14. My brother was a little older than me, and we would go back in the woods and we would explore all the time. We found this area of woods where it's all pine trees, and all the pine trees are just lined up in a row. Now, I've never seen this before. Maybe there's an agricultural reason behind it, but to me, it looks like pine trees that are the same length as what graves would be. Maybe like a burial ground, and people are like, oh, let's plant some pine trees to honor them or whatever they did back in the day. I don't know. You can walk through those woods all day long and just feel nothing. But as soon as you walk into this area, all of a sudden it's a very eerie feeling. And me and my older brother, Jason, right? We heard a train. Now, there's a train not too far away from us. There's a few miles over there down at the Midland post office, but this was right in front of us. It was a huge, loud train noise. And like I said, too, there wasn't a bunch of bushes and whatnot. Yeah. Nowhere to really hide unless somebody climbed a tree just to mess with us, but I doubt it. We obviously ran out of there. We've heard voices back there to the point where you think there's got to be somebody there. There's got to be. And you walk around the corner, nobody's there. There's a bunch of bones back there, too. I'm not sure what type of animal bones they are, but they're definitely animal bones. There's a ton of them back there. Even some of my other buddies that have come with me and my older brother, Jason, they will corroborate this as well. And they'll tell you, like, definitely feels weird back there. It's definitely a haunted area. I haven't been back there in so long. As far as I know, all the trees have been cut down. There's a house back there now. I have no idea. And then another one that involves my older brother, Jason, he used to live in Nebraska, and he would come down during like Christmas, holidays. Yeah. So this was around Christmas time, right? And me and my brother were sitting in this very room watching some television, and my mom and dad had the Christmas tree up, and my dad has a bunch of ornaments that make noise. He also has a lot of like Star Trek ornaments as well, you know? So some of the Star Trek dialogue would come up on the ornaments. So one day, me and my brother were sitting here watching TV, right? The tree wasn't plugged in, and all of a sudden, multiple ornaments on the tree went off. Just out of nowhere. We left and just went over to the Sheets down the street and stayed there for a few hours. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to this day, me and my brother talk about it. It was only a few of them. Wasn't all of them at the same time, you know? None of the actual light bulbs came on, just the ornaments that make noise. There is a dog here. One of my roommates owns a dog, and the dog will sometimes stand up, walk over to something, and it would just stare at something, right? And of course, you stand up, you look, and nothing's there.
Like outside a doorway or just into a corner?
Actually, in this room, looking down the hallway right here. He would walk over to where the chair was, stand next to it, and look down the hallway. We used to have 2 German Shepherds, and I forget who I was with. Maybe my buddy Chris or my brother Jason.
Yeah, shouts to Chris Mack, baby.
Chris Mack, yes. Yep, exactly. That's who I'm talking about. He actually wanted to be here today. But anyways, we had 2 German Shepherds. We were standing in the kitchen, right? And all of a sudden, they stood up, hair standing up, mad at something, and they came into the living room. Well, didn't hear any whining or anything like that, right? And I was too scared to walk into the living room, okay? But I do remember them walking back into that kitchen, afraid, with their tails between their legs and everything. So I'm not sure what they saw, but we definitely have had animals here affected by these things as well, you know, where they definitely seem like they're trying to defend from something.
Like flying into a state of panic for nothing that you can see.
And all of a sudden, they're terrified.
Kids and animals usually pick up that stuff.
Yeah.
Because kids specifically, they've got no filter for what's normal yet.
Yeah.
So a lot of things can make it through to them that, you know, an adult, we've got our tunnel vision as far as like what is real and what's normal.
And it starts at that very young age, and it goes all the way up to when you're older. You know, it all depends on where you live, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess it's just whether or not you grow out of it. Something in you just kind of shifts. Maybe it's when you learn that Santa Claus isn't really out there. I don't know. Shoot, buddy, do I have a shout out for y'all today. Legendary horror production studio Blumhouse reached out to the HHP to give away some free download codes for their new thriller, Unseen. In this new flick, 2 women form an unlikely connection when Sam, a gas station clerk, receives a misdialed call from Emily, who is running from her murderous ex-boyfriend in the woods. Having lost her glasses in the escape, Emily must rely on Sam's eyes using the video call in order to survive. Very Velma of her. It's available on streaming right now to buy or rent, but as an avid listener of the HHP, we can do a little better for you. It's an extremely creative premise, and it's an honor to work with the studio that's created so many modern horror classics. So DM the HHP Insta or Facebook page with your favorite episode of the show and your favorite Blumhouse movie for a chance to win a free download code. But that's enough out of me. Let's get back to the episode.
Especially in this house, I've always known it existed because I've experienced, right? But I still, to this day, still see things. Outside of my house, I've seen things as well, you know, but not as much. I haven't really grown out of it, you know, but
you just get used to it. It's just something that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And to reiterate, not every supernatural thing or even small phenomena is like malevolent in nature.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been drugged down the hallway or scratched or anything like that, but I've definitely had moments where I felt extremely uncomfortable. This is actually a very recent story. Around Christmas time, actually. It was during that cold spell we had. I came downstairs to restoke the fire, and in the corner of this room, I heard gurgling. And this house is very old. Sometimes some noises happen here. I'm like, okay, well, you know, this is one of those noises where I was like, no, this...
Not native to the house.
Exactly. So I looked up in the corner, didn't see anything. So I continued to do what I was doing. And I started getting this little uncomfortable feeling. So once I finally get the fire going again, I stood up and it looked like there was a black figure standing in the reflection of the television behind me. So, of course, I quickly looked at the television and I didn't see it. But just as quick as I looked at the television, I also saw the figure again out of the corner of my eyes at the doorway. At that point, I felt very uncomfortable. I said out loud, I was like, not fucking today, dude. And when I said that, I felt even more uncomfortable because I actually gave it that attention. I'm not going to lie, I kind of sped walk out of here and went upstairs, you know?
Yeah, let's get back to somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Safe room, you know?
Now, the entire time I was downstairs, I felt extremely uncomfortable, right? And that entire time walking up the stairs, extremely uncomfortable. And then down the hallway to my bedroom, extremely uncomfortable.
Daring not to look behind you.
Exactly. As soon as I popped my door open and walked to my bedroom, it instantly went away. So, yeah, like you said, safe space.
Yeah, it's like the save room in a video game. You know the monsters aren't going to hit you up in there.
Yeah.
Like there's always an air of skepticism around anything like this because if it's real, it's like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff that we'd all need to reevaluate. Maybe Santa Claus is real. You know?
Yeah.
But it's either happening in your head or there is actually something external to you that's causing this.
Yeah.
And you saying out loud, it validates it in your head and to whatever might be there.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comforts you to hear this, like if you do ignore it, stuff will fade away.
Yeah. Well, the things that you see on TV, like for instance, I'm going to use The Conjuring as an example. When they're getting pulled down the hallway or getting their hair pulled and slung across a room, you know, those things I've never experienced, but the science behind what they talk about in the movie, I believe is 100% real. For instance, there is one moment in the movie where some of the paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're talking about the steps of a haunting, right? Infestation, oppression, and possession. And infestation, that's the noises you hear, the footsteps, the talking, and oppression is when it really starts to get to you, you know, and it really starts to like make you defenseless, makes you really scared and whatnot.
Yeah,
you know?
not just like it's trying to attack you, but like your mental state is deteriorating.
Exactly. And then possession. Now, obviously, I don't know anybody that's possessed, and I never been possessed myself, but I feel like that if I was more afraid of it, it would have become stronger, and who knows what would have happened.
I was talking to a dude that is very deep into paranormal stuff. Like he's made movies, he's made books, and he's almost every house he's ever lived in has been haunted in some regard.
Yeah.
This guy was saying like the energy you give is important too. Like the energy you put into this thing. Like if it is fear, it will grow scarier.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just kind of goofy, it's almost like dismissive.
There's moments where I would hear something and I'm the only one home. Like, why am I hearing this, right? So instead of like being afraid of it and leaving the house or instead of like investigating, I just sit back and think to myself, like, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to ignore it. And I feel like that makes it weaker as opposed to if I was afraid of it.
Yeah, it's also the thing of like, if there's a monster under your bed, it could just grab you at any time. But you feel like if you have the covers over you, you're safe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a denial.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a story, and this is like a holy grail of stories. I get really excited when I talk about the story. I think it is 100% proof of the paranormal.
I'm all ears.
So I used to work at Home Depot, right? And I would do the morning shift. So I'd wake up like at 4 a.m. Now, my dad, he had a really hard time sleeping. He had insomnia. A lot of the times I'd come downstairs and I'd find him on his computer or find him downstairs watching TV. Many, many times I would come downstairs and out of the corner of my eye, right, I kept seeing what looked to be a white male with a white shirt standing in the doorway. Not this one, but the one in the other room.
Yeah.
Now, I never saw any facial expression, so my idea is he's either looking at my dad and I'm just seeing behind him. Very bulky too. Like, I mean, like took up a lot of the doorway when I saw it at the corner of my eye. Never saw any legs though. I only saw the top portion of this figure. So I experienced that a lot. And living in this house, it wasn't really anything that was crazy. Like if I saw him sitting there playing the ukulele, then of course I would tell everybody about it, you know? So I never told anybody about it, kept it to myself, and I would experience this over and over and over and over. So there was one day where me and my mom were sitting in this very room right here watching a movie. Now, when I'm watching a movie with somebody, I'm very weird about movies. Like I focus very much into the movie, you know?
Yeah, if someone's trying to talk to you or distract you, you're like,
exactly.
Shut the fuck up, dude, come on.
That, or if they're sitting like looking at their phone or looking at the wall, I'm like, what are you looking at? You know, like we're watching a movie. Like, what are you doing? So me and mom watching something. I forget what we were watching, right? And this was around the same time I was working at Home Depot. So she was sitting in the opposite chair and she kept looking at the doorway. And eventually I was like, Mom, what are you looking at? And she looks at me and says, I keep seeing somebody standing at the doorway. I was like, well, what does it look like? It's like a white male with a white t-shirt on with no legs. Never in my life told her about this. Never. And she described the exact same thing that I saw. And I never told her about it. My hair standing behind my head right now. So every time she looked, she said it was gone. Then she looked at the TV again. The thing is, though, she experienced it multiple times in this period. Sometimes you would see something out of the corner of your eye and you would look at it, right? And it'd be gone. Yeah. Then maybe you'll see it a week from now or the next day. But no, she saw it multiple times in that same experience.
Do you know if she'd seen it at any point before that? Was that entirely new to her?
From her demeanor, when I told her, like, oh my God, that's what I've been seeing. It seemed like it was the first time she's ever seen it.
Maybe you perceive it better than her from that experience of you being a kid in the house and talking to whatever's here.
Yeah, it's crazy. And anybody that says that it's not real is full of themselves. They just haven't experienced anything yet, but it's out there and it's real.
And I think it's also good for people to be skeptical for a bit. Because if it is true that if you give it energy, it becomes something more.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just, you shut off that part of yourself, you're good to go.
Maybe people like me and you guys, for instance, right? And the people that are skeptical kind of, we have that happy medium. Because if everybody believed it, then it would be out of control, obviously,
And I'll be honest, I flip-flop in my belief all the time. I'm not sitting here going like everything's a fucking ghost, but
yeah,
I know without a doubt that if I do prod or if I do look for it, I will be convinced at some point something's going to happen to me that I can't deny.
Yeah.
And whether or not it is real, like I will individually be convinced that it is real.
Yeah.
Which is why I interview people. I have people tell me their stories and stuff. Dance around the graveyard. And I was like, fuck with me, motherfucker. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
No, then I would probably sound like a crazy person. The experience I have would be probably nuts. Dude, the Ouija board stories people tell me are so terrifying.
I've only had one Ouija board experience. It wasn't at this house. It was actually at one of my coworkers' house. And we were up in the attic doing it, right? And it seemed so fake. The woman that was like holding it with us, I'm pretty sure she was moving it.
Yeah.
And to this day, she will deny it. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't, But it just seemed like it was so fake because her reaction was like so.
Whoa,
yeah,
she's
exactly.
trying to ham it up.
Exactly. And that's the only Ouija board experience I've ever had. And it kind of has thrown me off from it. Now, I've watched movies. And I've seen things, so I probably will never do it in this house. First off, I live here. Of course, I don't want to experience something crazy.
Why shit where you eat? You don't want
to... exactly.
Prove ghosts are real in the place you sleep. Fuck that.
Yeah. No. There's only been one time where I ever set up a camera in this house, and it was my laptop camera, and I had it in my kitchen facing down the hallway, right? I saw my dad walk downstairs. I was like, oh my God, but that was it. When these things do happen, I never knew it was going to happen right then and there.
Yeah, but it's out of the blue. You can't prepare for it in any way.
Yeah.
If you really want to freak yourself out, you got to make like Paranormal Activity and set up a camera in your bedroom and just film the entire night.
I have actually had thought about doing that before, but then again, like I said, I feel like it makes it stronger by giving it that acknowledgement, I guarantee you after this, something will happen. I'm talking about it in the area where it happens. Yeah. And I know there's multiple spirits in this house. There was one time where Chris Mack was going to be staying the night at the house. I doubt you're being teenagers. And when you go upstairs, there's these ballasts. And the ballasts have like a rounded area where you can run, grab the ballast, and then swing yourself around and land on the stairs.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But there's one time where I remember grabbing the ballast and swinging around. And in mid-swing, I remember seeing what looked like a woman standing at a white wall, black hair, white dress on. And once I finally landed after spinning on this ballast, I quickly looked over and once again, saw nothing. I remember looking at Chris too, because he was right behind me. Did you just see that? And he's like, no, I didn't see it.
It's weird. Every time I start an episode and start talking with somebody, it starts with the feeling of a regular conversation. And then the more we talk, the more that your hair kind of stands on end and you get that feeling of rising in your stomach. For people who can't see what's going on, I brought a friend with me and he's sitting over there in the corner just trying not to disrupt. I keep feeling like I see a head poking up from behind him on the couch and it's starting to freak me out.
As it gets darker in here too, there's definitely a different vibe.
Yeah, I came here around 5, so the sun is not completely down yet. But, you sit in a dark room with a candle, your sense of safety kind of goes out the window. You're like, anything can happen under the shroud of darkness.
9 times out of 10, in this house, I hardly ever go into a room and not turn on the light. I mean, and sometimes also when I start getting like an uncomfortable feeling, like when I'm in a room by myself, I'll just leave the fucking lights on. Growing up, my dad was always like, who keeps fucking leaving these lights on? My dad, he was a believer, but at the same time, though, a lot of the stories I've tell him, he's like, oh, you're just freaking yourself out. And once like, no, I know it's real.
It's real and it's here, goddamn.
Yeah.
It's interesting he doesn't have any stories, though, especially being up at night a lot. Because I have a father like that, too. He used to work nights, so his sleep schedule's usually messed up.
I mean, I'm sure he has told me stories, but I just don't remember them. He recently passed away, actually, in this room.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it was back in April, so, I mean, those stories went with him, unfortunately. I mean, and that's another thing, too, is like, I know this stuff's real, so I'm sure his presence is here as well. There's one time where I was sitting in this chair, and I was, I didn't have the TV on or anything like that. I was just looking at my phone, scrolling through Facebook or whatever I was doing. And I remember hearing, like, quick footsteps coming up behind me. The dog would get up and look, so I know I'm not crazy. I know it's there. I just continue to look at my phone until it becomes very loud and very apparent. And like jump out of the chair, look down the hallway, don't see anybody. And I'm okay, well, I'm going to step outside for a second.
Something I've been thinking about recently. So if spirits and ghosts are real, then there is a soul, there is an afterlife. I think if all that is to be believed, when you die, what if you don't take all of yourself with you? If we boil it down to just electronics, like your hard drive would be like your brain, the essential information, like the memories, your personality, and then like your body, was the meat, the flesh.
Yep.
That just rots in the ground. But what if like in that hard drive, you don't take everything with you? Maybe that's why you'll see like a ghost in the doorway, for example.
Yeah.
That's just
true.
a moment in time that you're not taking with you when you go wherever you go.
Yeah. And the energy stays behind.
Yeah. The energy, maybe it's just a snapshot. Maybe there's actual sentience to it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
what I think happens is your soul or your conscience or whatever, right? I think what happens is it gets wiped, almost like a computer. Once you're done with the computer or done with the phone, right? What do? You wipe the memory and you give it to somebody else. So you die, your soul leaves you, it goes up to heaven or whatever it does, right? Now, a bad soul, maybe it goes to hell and you don't get wiped.
Maybe you take it out of circulation. Yeah,
exactly. So you go up to heaven, right? You got a good soul.
You're good for the whole of the race. We'll send you back down.
Exactly. What they do is they wipe the memory and put it in somebody new. Now, think about it. You hear stories sometimes about people saying that they're having memories that are not theirs.
Yeah,
because from previous lives, because the soul and the memories in that soul, maybe it was not completely wiped. And when it was given to somebody else, now they have those previous memories.
That's a very interesting line of logic, because there would also be people that were too good for circulation. They're put in heaven or paradise.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Just a quick joke, but West Virginia's logo is West Virginia Almost Heaven. Can you imagine dying and going to heaven and it's just a little bit better in West Virginia? I'd be pissed.
That would be crazy.
just a little bit better
right
in West
next
Virginia.
to you all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd be mad. But anyways, yeah, I don't know.
It's beautiful out there, though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little weird tangent, but I think that there really is a heaven and a hell. It's not just like a room you walk into or it's not clouds. I feel like you would be so divorced from your sense of self that it would almost just be like locked into one emotional state forever, like a state of panic or fear. That would probably be like what a hell would be.
Yeah.
And you just have no control of getting out of that. If you have a shitty day at work, you can go to a bar, have a drink, or you can go outside, smoke a cigarette, look at the stars, and you're like, shit isn't too bad.
Yeah.
If there is like a heaven or a hell, it's not like, a subjective thing, because you can't eat Sundays every day and have fun with it,
Yeah.
It becomes normal.
So are you saying that like the way you pass means where you go? So for instance, if you have a shitty life and you do dumb stuff and you maybe you commit many murders like Dahmer or something like that,
No, I think it might be how you feel about yourself, because we have an internal sense of like, are we good or are we bad? It'd be weird, because if that's what determines it, if your internal state determines where you go, what you are when you die is what your stamp on eternity is. Oh. That's what's on your hard drive. And hopefully it's not that,
Yeah. What about like brain damage?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not what you came into the game with.
Do you think that
is that who you are when you die with the brain damage?
Or is it who you were prior to something terrible happening like that?
Yeah, in your idealized state,
okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's how long you lived for. For instance, if you lived for 82 years, right, and you were fine, and all of a sudden the last year, all of a sudden you got eye cancer or whatever, and you passed away from it, right? Would that last year be your stamp forever or be
Yeah.
that last 82 years.
Maybe it's multiple things. Maybe who you were at different points in your life. It's like having different save files in a video game. Maybe they all exist. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, all that talk about different universes or whatever.
Multiverse theory.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I wonder if you can decide which one you want to live into.
Maybe. Smarter people than me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get paid enough for that. I don't think that in my lifetime I'll ever figure it out, but you know,
Well, you will one day. That's the terrifying thing about life. At some point, no one in this room will exist anymore.
Yeah.
We'll know. We'll know something.
Yep.
Or maybe we won't. Maybe we don't go anywhere.
What's you guys like thought on like aliens, for instance?
Aliens. Well, I agree with Matt Bullard on this. They probably are just consciousness. Whenever you see an alien, like you see the gray, right? The shriveled little body, big head. And that's to imply that they're more cerebral beings than they are physical beings. They're not weightlifters.
Yeah.
They speak to you through your mind. You know, they've mastered space travel. They know more about the universe, their knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I think if aliens are real, they might be like that. And I also like to get into the weeds on like maybe they don't exist in any physical form at all. Have you ever had a thought occur to you at a random point in the day and you're like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
Or ideas in general.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an alien.
Do you think they were once upon a time like us and we have many, 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 many years until maybe we're like them?
Maybe. They may be highly advanced humans that just branched off and went further than us. If we truly have evolved from monkeys,
yeah,
you know, maybe there's something far more evolved than us off planet.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. Personally, I've never actually seen like UFOs or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had dreams about like UFOs staring in my bedroom window at me at night. But
wow.
No, I don't know whether I'd define any of it as alien activity.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie The Fourth Kind?
I haven't.
That's a good one. It's a movie based in Alaska. And during your time watching the movie, you'll see the actors portray certain things, and then split screen, they'll have the actual events.
So the movie is a dramatization of actual events?
Yes. They have that part of the movie, but like I said, they also have like the actual footage of what happened during the movie as well.
Okay.
And if that footage is real or not, who knows? But it's based in Alaska, right? And if you look it up, when people have visions or memories of seeing aliens, they're always shrouded. And the only thing they can think about is an owl. So in the movie, this psychiatrist is talking to the patient, right? And they're putting like in hypnosis to get past the shrouded memory, because the only thing they can think about is an owl. And once they finally get them past that state, all of a sudden they start freaking the fuck out. And they start giving what it sounds like a moment of abduction. And that's what the fourth kind is, actually being abducted. Now, like I said, it's a movie, obviously. But I will say this, it looks very real.
And that's the thing people don't take into consideration either. If a lot of this stuff is real, it probably exists in a state that we could never identify it properly. Like, did you ever play the Mass Effect games?
I've never, my cousin played them and I watched him play them, but I never played them myself.
They're fun. They're great. But what I'm getting at with that is that it's a game about like when humanity actually goes up into the stars and they meet like essentially an alien government.
Yeah.
There are a million different types of aliens. Some of them are very humanoid looking. Others of them are like, what the hell is that thing? You know, you could barely identify it. It's not bipedal at all. Some of them are just like orbs of consciousness.
Huh.
If evolution takes so many different routes, what you could get could be almost endless. It's like a random character generator for the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's creepy.
That
like
could
there
be
may
out
be
there.
aliens that are just the size of germs.
So one show I enjoy watching, it's on Discovery Plus. It's called Paranormal Caught on Camera. So me and my mom get really into it, from cryptids to aliens to ghosts. Some of the stuff you see on this show, though, is crazy. Like Bigfoot, for instance. Some of them are like, oh, that looks like Bigfoot, you know? But then again, it could just be a man walking up the hill.
Big, hairy weirdo man.
Exactly. One of the things that they say in the show is that Bigfoot could possibly be interdimensional, which is why it's really hard to find them. And then the second thing is that they are just very good at blending in to their surroundings. And one of the videos shows a man, I'm not sure where they were, you know, but it was snowy, right? And he followed a trail of blood and he came across a deer carcass or an elk carcass, and he was videotaping it. And you saw something black, hairy, standing against a tree. And eventually the man noticed it and he started recording it, but it stood extremely still. And then while you're watching it, you're almost like, is that really something though? It's got to move a little bit for me to believe it, until it does. You're like, holy shit, that's standing right fucking there.
Think of it as like a branch of Homo sapien that evolved to blend in with its surroundings perfectly.
Like a lizard hairy man or something like that.
Some kind of chameleon.
Yeah.
That's creepy to fucking think about.
I know. And also, like in this particular video, it was the middle of the day. It wasn't nighttime, and it was that stealthy.
That's the fucked up thing about it. We have vision based on sight.
Yeah.
And it's already been proven that animals have much keener senses than we do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're using improper tools. They're like shrimp that can see colors on the spectrum that we can't even imagine.
There's been plenty of times where animals have been affected by things here, and I didn't see anything, but they sure shit did.
This is very cozy though. Like I don't get like a threatening vibe.
8 out of 10 times, I do. I feel comfortable. It's just that there's those few times where I'm like, oh shit, like I feel something. There's actually one more story at my brother's old house. It was a townhouse, brand new. I would stay in their basement. I went upstairs to do something. I came downstairs and I had a roommate. Her name was Amber. And it looked like she walked into the bathroom downstairs next to the front door. Could have sworn I saw somebody walk into that bathroom, right? I went downstairs, did my thing, right? And I never heard the door reopen. So I was like, is she still in that damn bathroom? So I walked back over there, right? Nobody was in the bathroom. And this house is brand new. There's no reason why there should be anything going on.
The door was closed, right? Like
yeah. I mean,
open before, but it closed. When
yeah. And so I could have sworn up and down that somebody walked into that bathroom, and nope. I mean, like I said, there's just so many things that I've seen.
And you could also just come back on the show at some point. You know what I mean? If you have friends that have seen things with you, or like even Chris Mack, man.
Oh yeah,
he had some scary stories. We could get Chris Mack on the show for sure.
That'd be cool. But I've never been hurt or anything like that in this house.
Yeah. And that's the important takeaway too.
Yeah.
Not every supernatural occurrence is leading to something worse or inherently harmful.
Yeah. Definitely a different person for experiencing all of it, And like I said, I that's why I absolutely love watching all the movies. A lot of people don't get into horror movies. And I'm like, have you experienced anything while you were growing up that's paranormal? And they're like, no, like that's all fake. I'm like, that's why.
Someone that doesn't even entertain the possibility. And it is people with like a sensitivity, like whether that's just emotional or just to their surroundings, to reading a vibe. Because I remember being able to walk into rooms as a little kid and being able to understand what's going on in the environment just by the mood in the air.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't really have anymore as an adult.
What you just said actually kind of reminds me of that area in the back of the woods. God, you know what? It'd be so cool to like take a generator out there
and just camp out a little bit.
Camp out or bring this equipment and do this out in those woods, put a generator somewhere far away, whatever, that way it's not so loud in the microphone, right? Bring over some extension cords and just do that
just
back
see what
there.
Happens, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really fun. And that's another thing too. Having talked with like actual paranormal investigators, you could be in the most haunted spot in the world. It's not popping 24/7. They usually have to stay at a place for a week to get everything or even one thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it doesn't even happen. But it's fun. It's a fun little hobby to have. I've always kind of liked, scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I got all the Freddy's and the Friday the 13th.
Yeah. I mean, one day I'll find the courage to actually like maybe do a little bit of investigating. I'll probably start in this house first and maybe branch my way out. But I'm not going to say I'm scared. I just know that it would become more of a problem.
Be putting energy into it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't want to do that to my son or to my mother or anything like that, just for my own curiosity.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. No, yeah.
I don't know if you talk to Josh much anymore, but if he has experiences too, I mean,
I'll mention it to him. I've had 3 brothers live here, They probably have their own experiences that I don't even know about, So, okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Ricky.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All righty, folks. We'll catch you later.
Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy everybody, it's me, your host Danny, and I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your #1 source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.